A little update on the 51 Willys. So I have this gauge cluster. You would think in 51 that these would be mechanical gauges, but they're actually all electronic. There's no sending unit that goes in them, all electronic. So maybe I can adapt them to the 91 Cherokee wiring as long as the ohm range is within spec. So the problem I was having was the speedometer. This piece on the back here, this little rod that goes from the speedometer cable into the back, this spins around and makes your speedometer needle move. This rod right here was broken right where it tapers down. I have another one here. If I can find it, right here. So if you can see, this rod originally broke right here where it tapers down, and I tried to disassemble another gauge to try and get this needle out. I was able to get this needle out, but you have to take this shaft out of this housing and separate it off of this gear, which probably at one point in its life it did separate, but that was 70 years ago. So what I did is I took speedometer from a 51. Oddly, these gauges are from a 48. So Willy's was laying over parts from years before. This is a 51 and later speedometer unit, and I took the instrument cluster, the mechanicals, out of it. This is actually from this unit, is from this gauge, and I was able to mount this base plate to it. The speedometer reading is in the same increment, so 40 to 30. When that's centered on the needle, all these numbers line up. So I think as far as speedometer accuracy with this unit and this gauge face, it will still give me correct reading. I put some WD-40 in the back here. There's a little oil spot where you're supposed to oil this gear right here. Put some WD-40 in there. I have a little square drive that goes in the back to represent my speedometer cable hooked up to a drill, and so I'll try and demonstrate that working for you. That's going to be a little tough here. Let me get set up. So I got the drill inserted in the back where your speedometer needle would. Oiled it up so that the little gear slides nice. It was kind of frozen when I got it put together. This little shaft was frozen in here, so I'll probably keep oiling in here, keep it freed up. It's not sticking. It drops right back down to zero, so not really worried about the mileage. This unit's exempt, obviously, but yeah. So 48 gauges look like this, all contained in one unit. The 51 and up, the speedometer is on its own, and then there's two side gauges here and two side gauges on the other side. So keep that in mind, that if you're having trouble finding speedometer parts for the 48 unit, which they only made this for about 10 months, so kind of hard to come by, but the unit out of this one appears to work in this. I did have to use some creativity on the mounting tabs, and I don't know if those will stay. We'll find out.